good thing. Let's bring in our distinguished military panel, retired Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, retired Marine Staff Sergeant Johnny Joey Jones, and retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. General, I'll start with you. 3 generals so far, maybe more. Any reason for concern about the military-civilian oversight?
Well, you know, Pete, think about the fact that Barack Obama had 3 generals right out of the chute in his administration. He had Denny Blair at DNI, he had Rick Shinseki at Veterans Affairs, and then he had Jim Jones as his national security advisor. There was never a complaint. Look, being a retired general, having a successful military career should not be a penalty. Remember that these people are civilians now, so I think that this whole thing is just a lot to do over nothing.
Colonel Shaffer, is it, to his point, is it just generals, or is it the wrong generals from the left? Because, you know, as he pointed out, there were 3 generals at the beginning for Barack Obama.
Hey, it's any general who's competent. Look, this is the end of the high school debate team being in charge of national security. The current crew, Susan Rice and Ben Rhodes, are completely incompetent. They have been the stewards of the bad foreign policy. Jay Johnson at DHS is a freaking lawyer, for goodness sake. And of course, look at what's going on with DOD with Ash Carter. Ash Carter is a career bureaucrat. So what has to be done is clear. They have to repair the past 8 years of neglect, malfeasance, and incompetence. So you've got to bring in people who actually have an understanding of the issues, who have studied them their entire life. And frankly, these are the right generals at the right time. So, and as General Boykin pointed out, they're retired. They're just like us. They have the right to be employed. Kudos to Mr. Trump for hiring veterans.
Staff Sergeant, as somebody who's walked the ground, what does it say to the ground pounder that this president is choosing warfighters like this at the top?
Well, you know, it says everything. General Mattis specifically, when that Secretary of Defense has to make some tough decisions, those men and women on the ground will know that he's fought for them all the way to the end, and if it's a tough decision, they'll believe in that decision. Morale is huge when it comes to winning a war. Morale is huge when it comes to securing this country. So the generals specifically that have been chosen so far, you know, General Kelly has given everything to this country. We're talking about generals who have spent 20 to 30 years in active combat and understand the cost of war and the cost of securing this country. They haven't, you know, this is 2016, we've been at war for 15, 16 years, and, you know, if you count the late 90s, some of these generals have been operational for most of their career, and that's important. They have experience. When you talk about drain the swamp, where else can you go to find a non-political person that's competent in these roles? I think these are amazing picks, and absolutely, I think when you just have to have something to argue about what they did in their past career, I guess.
Great points, all. Unfortunately, we have to leave it right there. There's also reports out this morning that the Pentagon is drawing up stronger plans, pulling power away from the White House to the Pentagon to execute the fight against ISIS. I think something all of us can agree. Less politicians and speechwriters and more generals and operators involved in the process. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your expertise. We'll talk to you again very soon.